Let me tell you what, my love is alive. We're coming alive today. Ready to come alive? Yeah. So, Dr. Howard Thurman, who was an American theologian and educator and civil rights leader, and he actually inspired Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and encouraged him to use nonviolent protest techniques. He famously said this: "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Woo, right? So what does it really mean to come alive? It's certainly more than, well, I'm physically alive, therefore I must be alive. More than that, right? We know a lot of people who are physically alive and yet kind of dead inside. Or people who live the same day over and over and over and over and over again for years, right? And many people are asleep to their divine self. They're asleep to their power as co-creators. Therefore, they're sleepwalking through life. To come alive means to wake up every morning, to be excited, to start a new day, to look forward to the adventures, whatever they are, in that day, and just approach it with an open heart, to know more deeply that you are an expression of this one life, an emanation of the divine. It is to connect more deeply every day with your true purpose and to live into that purpose more and more every day. It is to say yes to your yes. It is to feel a fire inside your soul, a fire that is ignited by the awareness that as you share your gifts, you make a difference. As you do what you were meant to do, you help light up the world. That's coming alive, right? So this idea of our true purpose, of living our true purpose. Each one of us has a unique purpose. And to discover that purpose, we must listen to our soul's calling. We must really hear the voice of Spirit in us. You know, and that purpose could be a lifelong vocation. It could be your spirit calling you to direct your energy in a specific way for a specific amount of time, and then that changes over time. Many of us have experienced that. It could be your soul calling you to work together with others as a group. But whatever shape it takes, when you answer that call, it gives your life meaning. And when you are on your purpose, living your purpose, you can't help but lift those around you. Now, here's the thing. Someone actually living their true purpose is kind of rare, unfortunately. Why? Well, not everyone is attuned to their divine self. Not everyone is attuned to and can hear the voice of Spirit or the voice of their soul. And, you know, those who do, you know, we human beings will find every reason in the world to not do it. I'm too old. Are you kidding? I'm too young. I don't have the right education. I don't have the right connections. I don't have the right background. I'm not physically able. It's not a good time for me. You see, when my kids go off to school, when I retire, when I feel better, then I'll do it. And guess what? It never happens, right? As a minister, I have facilitated enough funerals and memorial services to know that life is short. We want to make sure that we play our song before we go. In other words, do what we're called to do. Do what we're called to do. And make every day count. Make every day count. Let's say that together. I am making every day count. One more time. I am making every day count. So it took my getting breast cancer to hit the pause button on my life and to really seriously look at the direction of my life and what I was doing with my time. Now, I thought I was on the right path. I was having fun. You know, I was creating these products for new moms. I wrote this baby bonding book and put it together with these cute little coupon gift books and some organic clothes in a cute way. I mean, it was fun. And I was being of service, you know, and it was fulfilling. But there was something deeper inside of me that kept calling me, that kept trying to get my attention. That voice had been there for a very long time, from the time I was young. You know, I just got tuned into a spiritual life very early on, and it wove itself throughout my whole life. But at this point, I kind of drifted away from this. And so that experience woke me up. And I began to realize that, there's a direction that this thing is headed. This interest in spirituality is directing you to spiritual leadership. Get on board, right? And it took a few more years, but I finally woke up. Maybe you have had a wake-up call that has gotten your attention. I know our dear friend and board president, Maria Kavanaugh, if you don't mind me sharing a little bit of your story. It took a near fatal crash to awaken within her this dream and get her moving forward to realizing it. And she realized that, you know, this life that we're living here, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing. So she said yes to this dream within her to create this international soul-enriching week-long retreat for women to reclaim their joy, appropriately called Camp Joy. And she wasted no time in going about moving forward and accomplishing that. I'm sure trusting that things would work out, that things would come together for her because she is uniquely qualified to do this, right? Who else, right? She's the one. And so here's the thing. When we say yes to our calling, we become a light for others. We become a light for others. And when we begin to move forward in the direction of our purpose, things begin to come together. Life lines up. Help appears. Both seen and unseen assistance appears. That's how the universe works. It waits for us to say yes and to move forward, to be willing to move forward. And so the book that I have been using as inspiration this month, called The Amen Effect by Rabbi Sharon Brous, she says in her book, there's a powerful through line in the angel stories that appear throughout the Bible and rabbinic literature, from sacred text to folklore to liturgy. Angels, each one fueled by a unique purpose, appear in moments of great vulnerability to give us moral strength, clarity, and hope. They help us believe again. They awaken in us our responsibility to one another. They challenge us to think creatively about what might be possible. They let us know that we're not alone. They offer protection, connection, and inspiration. So, she then goes on to explain how we are often the angels. Yes, they're heavenly angels, and it remains a mystery. God bless you. It remains a mystery why angels show up for some and don't seem to show up for others. But that's why we're here. We can be the angels in someone else's life. We can absolutely be the angel in someone else's life. Right? And we do that by living into our purpose. So she goes on to say, our life's work is to hone this spiritual and moral clarity we need to live into our purpose, a purpose unique to each of us and to the time we live in. Like Pat Webster here. Here is a person who spent the last 4 years or more, 5 years or more, honing that spiritual and moral clarity needed to say yes to her calling, to become a unity minister. And in particular, the ministry of helping to create a just world. And even more specifically, to address the prison population. So now here's the thing. When she first kind of was starting this, endeavor, this idea of what it would take to go through all of this, and she came to me and she said, well, I'm this age, and when I finish out here in a few years, I'll be this age. Sort of indicating that maybe she'd be too old. Does anybody here think that Pat Webster is too old to be a minister? Does anybody think she's too old to lead the social justice ministry? No. Oh my God, she has more energy than people have her age. And where does that come from? Yes. And saying yes to it. It doesn't come from just kind of laying around. It comes from saying yes, connecting with that higher purpose, and being willing to step forward, being willing to one step in front of the other. One class completed, one interviews completed, 1 year completed, and now look. This time in history calls us to stretch way outside of our comfort zone and be the angels in the world, in however way that expresses for you. Your unique expression of divine love and healing light. Has there ever been a more urgent time for us to be this? It's calling us. The question is, are you listening? And what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Hopefully not for a crisis or a near-death experience in order for this to happen, although I'll tell you, that gets priorities into vision, gets their priorities really quickly. But let's not wait for a crisis. Let's not. So you might want to ask yourself, what is keeping me from connecting with my true purpose and from living that purpose? And for some people, it's, well, I'm waiting for my calendar to clear. Or I'm waiting for something in my life to change so that it becomes a little easier for me. Or for some people, it's I'm waiting for permission. Ooh, permission from who? For a lot of people, it's fear. It's fear. So I want to address that. I want to address that for a minute because that is a common experience. You know, in New Thought, we often say fear is the acronym for false evidence appearing real. Now, I have to take issue with that because fear is awfully real to the human self. And we as divine beings, yes, but expressing in the human realm, in this dense human experience, that's an experience that if we deny it, like other experiences, it just becomes more difficult. It just, creates more trouble. So and also here's the other thing, is if we ignore it or try to deny it or sidestep it or try to go around it somehow, we're missing the point. The point of fear is either that it is the ego jumping up and saying, oh, no, I want to keep you safe. Stay back here. We're keeping you safe. Promise you. Don't do it. Or it's a calling of your soul saying, oh, look, there's something exciting going on. You are on the cusp of a breakthrough to the next level of your being. What an exciting time. Let's do it. So I have some ideas for how we can move through fear so that it kind of lessens its grip and we can continue to do it. If I could have that next slide, please. Okay. So, number one, spiritual practice. On a spiritual path and on a path to living our purpose, that takes practice. A practice that we want to cultivate. That's a lovely sound. We're just going to let that. Okay. So it's a practice that we cultivate, right? So we want to remember as we're cultivating that connection with our divine self that it is not the ego that's stepping into this. It's not the ego that's moving forward. It is the highest divine self that is doing the works. And when you can connect with that on a regular basis, that is the place of peace, of poise, of power. So daily practice. All right. The next idea is we can do mind, body, because we're all connected, spirit, mind, and body, we're all connected. So whenever I am stepping out into an action that scares the bejesus out of me, I practice this. Sometimes it's called circular breathing or, four square breathing, where you breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Let's do that together. Okay, we're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, release for 5, and hold for 5. And if you want, you can imagine a square, like you're moving through this square. All right, ready? Breathe in for 5, hold for 5, release for 5, hold for 5, breathe in for 5, hold for 5, release for 5, hold for 5. Last time, breathe 5, hold for 5, release for 5, hold for 5. All right. Do you feel your body relaxing and sort of letting go? And you become more peaceful and relaxed. It's hard to feel fear when you're this relaxed and peaceful. And this is kind of the thing you have to repeat over and over. But I promise you, it's very, very effective. Okay. The next idea is sort of a three-parter, and it's our angels, support, and accountability partner. So the first thing is the angels that Rabbi Brous was talking about in the book that have been visiting people from the beginning of time. Stories abound, right? Know that they are always there. They're always available, but you have to call on them. You have to call on them. They're just waiting. In whatever way you envision angels. Really, some people actually see, with the wings and the white. Other people just get a positive feeling, feel an energy. Some people it comes as a spiritual master. However it works for you, right, is right for you. Okay. The second, if you don't already have a group of loving, supportive people who can be there for you when it gets tough, when things get a little sticky, and you can go to, you need to form a group. You need to find a group of people who really, and get them engaged in your vision, in your purpose. Get them excited about it so they'll support you, and then share that with them as well. Be that for them as well. And then the third is the accountability partner. Whenever we're doing anything kind of big, we're going to really move through this sphere, it's hard to do alone. So we want an accountability partner, someone who keeps us on track. And again, we can help them do the same. And you can partner with somebody and be that for each other. Right? All right, the last idea is to feel the fear and do it anyway. You've heard that saying. It's actually true. Eventually, fear will get the idea that you're serious, that you're not going to let it stop you, and it begins to recede. And now you are in the driver's seat, and the fear is way back there in the rearview mirror, and you can move through it. All right, so I have an affirmation for us, and it's on the next slide, I think. And I know a lot of you are taking your cameras out and taking a picture of that so that you'll have that with you. You can save this affirmation however often you want to during the week. But let's say this together now. Take a nice deep breath. Together, today I choose to live into my purpose. I say yes to my calling. And I become a light for others. And so it is. Amen. Hi, it's Reverend Victoria here. I'm at Unity Center of Peace with our house band, Bright Matter.
Hello.
Yeah, and if this video has inspired you or empowered you or opened your heart, opened your consciousness, or even just given you hope, we ask that you support what we're doing here by making a donation today, going to unitychapelhill.org or clicking the link below. And we thank you.
Thank
Thank you.